Claire declared calmly from behind a tattered copy of an old tabloid magazine. The couple canoodling on the cover had long since split up. I actually thought because it's her third kid, she'd push one time, and poof, we'd have ourselves a baby. Gabriella glanced at the swinging doors once more, willing Grant to burst through them like a jubilant new father, dispensing candy cigars as he announced that the baby had arrived safely. When Jessie's water broke, something had cracked open inside Gabriella, too. An incredible desire to hold the infant, to nuzzle it against her, and marvel at its 10 tiny fingers and toes. She'd never wanted children of her own, and had never wavered, not even when her husband Colin would place yet another of their friends' birth announcements in front of her with an expectant look in his eyes. She'd gently repeat her explanation, that she didn't feel she was meant to be a mother. Then she'd watch the range of emotions ripple across his face. First, the frustration that she wouldn't change her mind for him, followed by the realization he'd never be someone's father. But ultimately, the love he felt for Gabriella always won out. She'd been honest about how she felt since early in the relationship, and until they had married, she'd thought he had been on the same page. But then he would drop a hint here, make a comment there, and she often wondered when or if he'd finally stop bringing it up. Until eventually he did, which is when something unexpected happened. Gabriella had recently turned 40. When she did, it revealed a hole inside of her she hadn't known was there. Now, she couldn't wait to see the look on Colin's face when she told him she was ready to be a mom. Claire eyed Gabriella discreetly from behind her magazine, watching her carefully cross and uncross her long legs. Gabriella could be described as a lot of things: organized, practical, whip-smart, even nurturing. But worrisome and anxious were not words Claire would ever use, and Gabriella's nervous behavior baffled her. She was surprised Gabriella had not only come to the hospital, but waited here this entire time. It wouldn't have been at all out of character for her to have stayed at the party and visited the baby once it was cleaned, bundled, and sleeping soundly in a bassinet. Jessie had actually tried to convince both of them to do just that. Through clenched teeth and short, heavy breaths, while Grant was pulling up the car, Jessie had practically begged them not to ride with her to the hospital, to please stay and enjoy the party, because it was theirs too, the urgency in her best friend's blue eyes taking her by surprise, almost enough to make Claire agree. Gabriella's, Jessie's, and Claire's birthdays fell within a few months of each other. Gabriella in late May, Claire in June, and Jessie in July. And they'd made a vow almost 20 years before, while sipping beers at a dive bar in Newport Beach, their feet crunching the peanut shells covering the floor, to always celebrate together. Last night, they'd clasped hands as Colin toasted them, making a joke that 40 was the new 18. Gabriella glowed as her husband captivated the crowd. Jessie shifted her weight, nervous and uncomfortable, her bladder signaling she needed to go again, and Claire only half listened as she popped a strawberry into her mouth, shyly making eye contact with a man different from any she'd met before, who'd made her heart flutter when they'd grazed arms and shared small talk at the chocolate fountain earlier. Claire's phone vibrated in her hand, and her stomach jumped as she realized the adorable guy she had bantered with last night was now calling. She pulled her magazine up slightly to hide her smile from Gabriella. 40 was starting off right. Jessie squeezed her eyes, fighting the flow of tears that continued to gush from them, like a pipe that had burst inside her. She hugged her baby to her chest tightly, putting her finger inside his hand and watching as he gripped it.